Hey, welcome to Mr. Kemp's Instrument Videos. I'm Mr. Kemp, and let's get started. A few things that I want to talk about that go for all of the instruments. First thing I just did a minute ago is I just came back from washing my hands. You don't want to pick up and start playing a nice instrument when your hands are all dirty, so be sure to wash your hands. Next thing I'm going to do is make sure that I have a nice place to sit, a nice hard chair. Maybe a kitchen chair or something like that. This is what you're going to want. You don't want to go to your bedroom and sit in your bed or sit on your couch and you'll be playing like this. Something soft like this, no good. Nice hard chair. When you sit down in your chair to play, you don't want to be sitting back here. You want to sit up nice and tall at the edge of your chair, 2 feet flat on the floor, ready to play. Okay? Another thing is you don't want the television set on in the background. Keep everything quiet and give yourself a nice place to work. All right, something you'll hear me say all year long. Music does not happen by magic. It takes hard work. We're going to be working very hard this year. We're going to have a lot of fun. And if you work hard this year, we will have fun. You'll make beautiful, beautiful, magical music. But nobody's going to wave a magic wand and say, poof, you suddenly know how to play an instrument. This will take hard work. Are you ready for it? All right, let's start having some fun, and let's get into our lesson, our first lesson for playing your instrument. All right, let's get started playing the clarinet. First thing I want to talk to you about, believe it or not, is just how to even open up the case. Very important. Rule number one, we always open up our case on the floor. I don't want to see people doing this and open up the case and before you know it somebody's going to walk by you, knock off your case and your instrument falls to the ground. Rule number one, we open up our cases on the ground. Okay? You're going to see a couple different kinds of latches and handles and whatever else. But almost all of them, there's similar rules for just about all of them. Number one, the handle is almost always on the bottom, like this. This is on the bottom. This is a weird case. It happens to have 2 handles. But yours will probably have a handle and it should be on the bottom. And then number 2, the latches should flip up. If you're lifting your latches upward, you know you've got it correct. If you're lifting your latches down, like this, if they're pushing downward, then you probably have your instrument upside down. And if you open it, the clarinet is going to fall out all over the place. So, make sure that your handle is on the bottom like this, and make sure that the latches are pulling upward, and you probably are opening your clarinet correctly. All right, any instrument in the world, in order to make a sound, needs to be able to vibrate. If it doesn't vibrate, it doesn't make any sounds. The clarinet is made of mostly either very hard plastic, some of them are made from very hard wood, and that's not going to vibrate a lot. What we need to have is something else that vibrates, and that's where we have in our case something called a reed. And you need to have the reed in order to really make the music of the clarinet. You should have about 5 or 6 brand new reeds in your case. So get to a music store, get your parents to a music store, ask them to buy you 5 or 6 reeds and keep them in your case, nice new reeds at all times. I'll also have some available at school if you want to come see me to purchase reeds. You can get them for me at school. This reed is very, very delicate. Please be careful. They do cost money, and your parents don't want to waste money because you go to put this on your clarinet or you go to put it in your mouth like I'm going to do in a second, and you chip it on your tooth or you chip it on your instrument. They break very easily. Please be very careful with these. Now, for the reed to vibrate, it needs to be wet. It needs to be moist. That's why I'm going to put it in my mouth. You think, oh, what is it going to taste like? It doesn't really taste like anything. Can you imagine having a popsicle stick that doesn't have any popsicle on it? It's not going to really taste like anything. So picture a popsicle stick without any popsicle. That's what this tastes like. Notice I didn't talk with the reed in my mouth. I'm not going to move my mouth around. I'm not going to talk ever. As long as the reed is in my mouth, I don't want to chip it. So I put it in my mouth and I don't talk. I need to talk, so I'll keep this out of my mouth. But for the next 2 parts, you should have the reed in your mouth for, it should take about 30 seconds, maybe a minute, to do the next part once you get good at it. And for that minute, you could have the reed in your mouth getting moist. And then when you're ready to take it out, you'll be able to put it on the next 2 parts. So here we go with the first part of putting your clarinet together. I'll make my reed a little moist. And I'm going to put mine down for now. the two pieces that we need in our clarinet are called the barrel and the mouthpiece. Notice the mouthpiece has a little metal piece on it. This is called the ligature. We'll talk about the ligature in a minute, but for now, just take the ligature off and leave it down. We need the barrel and we need the mouthpiece. Okay? These are the first two pieces that are going to go together. Now you think, oh, which way does it go? Well, there's only one way it'll go. If you put it on the wrong way, it's just going to fall off. So you know it has to go on the other way. This is going to go together very, very snugly, and we want it to fit together kind of tight. But notice on the mouthpiece, we have this cork. Now, if this cork is even a little bit dry and we go to put this together in a very snug and tight way, this cork is going to possibly peel off and break off, and if that happens, you'll have to get your clarinet fixed. So we want to put something on this cork before we try to put it together. That something is in our case, and it's called cork grease. Some people might have a small container you have to dip your finger into and get some cork grease out and put it on the cork. I have a little tube of cork grease. It works a little bit like chapstick. I'll take the top off and I just turn this and it comes up. Now, how much cork grease do you need? Not too much. I just put it, one time around. I'll just rub a little bit around it, and that's fine. That's enough. I'll take the top. I'll put this back on my cork tube, my cork grease tube. Put that back in my case. Now I'll need to rub the cork grease with my finger. I'm going to rub it in with my finger. Okay? All the way around, and that's fine. Uh-oh, now I've got cork grease on my fingers. So what am I going to do with that? Well, you could have a tissue standing by, and if you have a tissue, you can wipe your fingers off on the tissue. Or, if nobody's looking, what I usually do is I just kind of wipe it off on my socks. But don't tell my mother, okay? Tissue, that's probably your best bet. Me, I just like to wipe it off on my socks. Just don't tell anybody. Okay, so now we have the cork grease on the cork, and I'd say do that maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. It should be enough. You should be able to tell if the cork, if it's going really hard and it's hard to turn, you might need to do it a little more often at first. But once or twice a week should be fine. You don't want to do that every single day, or it's going to get yucky and it's going to get all over your clarinet. So now my hands are clean. I wipe them off on my sock. I put this together. It doesn't go on that way. It has to go on the other way. I'll grab from here and I'll grab from here, and in a twisting motion, I'll put these two pieces together. Great. I've got the barrel. I've got the mouthpiece. This is where we're going to start playing the clarinet. Now, you have that reed you had in your mouth all this time. This is where we're going to put the reed onto the clarinet. The reed has a roundish part in the front and a very flat. It's all flat here in the back. That's going to go, the flat part has got to go against the flat part of the clarinet. Those two pieces are going to go together. If you have it on this way, the round part is not going to work right. There are two secrets with putting the reed on. The first one I'll show you before I even pick up that little metal piece, the ligature. The first one is looking for what I call a sliver of black. If I look at the very top of the reed, right now I have a lot of black. As I bring this upward, uh-oh, now the black disappeared. I want to put it just perfectly so I see a little sliver of black at the top. Can you see that? Okay. The other secret is going to be when I actually put the ligature on. You'll see that the ligature comes just below what I call the smile of the reed. Do you see this roundish part? You'll see the smile of the reed, and that's where the ligature will go around, just below that smile of the reed. Okay? Now, let's get that ligature, the metal piece that we put down in your case. Here's where, look at this is metal. This is a piece of bamboo. That's what the reed is made out of, bamboo. If I hit this ligature on the reed, you will break it. So here's where you have to be extra careful. I'll make sure my reed is moist. Yours should still be in your mouth, but when you do this all by yourself, this whole process should take about 30 seconds to a minute. You won't be leaving it in your mouth for a long, long time. So the flat part against this flat part, and now I so carefully want to put this over here so I don't chip the reed. And as I put it over, it's the screws that are going on top of the reed. We don't want it to be this way. where the screws are back here behind the mouthpiece. The screws should be right on top of the reed. Now as I bring this down, I should be able to see two secrets here. Again, I want to see a little sliver of black at the top, and I want to bring this low enough that I can see the smile of the reed here. You might have to loosen these screws and bring this down a little bit lower. Alright, mine seems to be okay. I'm going to bring it up a little bit higher, in fact. And then I need to tighten. Once I have the smile of the reed here, the smile of the reed down here, and I see a little sliver of black, once it's just right, then I need to tighten these screws. Now, how tight do I want to make them? Should I crank them on really, really tight? No, if I do, it's not going to vibrate. The reed needs to vibrate. If I really crank them down tight, it's not going to vibrate. So I put it on, tight enough so it's going to hold it. I don't want it to be loose so it's going to fall off. Put it on tight enough so it holds it, but don't really crank them down super tight. All right, now we're ready, believe it or not, now we're ready to play part of the clarinet. This should be the first thing we do, is get this far. If you can get this far and make a sound, we're doing great. Okay, now I have a secret for you. Did you know even monkeys can play the clarinet? It's true. Go into the jungle, start handing out clarinets to all the monkeys. They'll be swinging on the vines, stick their clarinet in their mouth, and they'll be blowing. True. Monkeys, I've seen it. It's not a pretty sight, but monkeys can play the clarinet. Now, how does that sound to you? Not so good. We don't want to sound like those monkeys, do we? Even if we act like the monkeys sometimes. We want to sound like musicians, and musicians know how to make their clarinet sound nice. Musicians have a couple secrets. Our bottom teeth, we need to have them cushioned with our lip, because we don't want them to crunch into the reed. Our top teeth are going to touch on the top part of the clarinet here. So our bottom teeth are cushioned like this. Our top teeth touch on the top of the clarinet. Then we're going to form a seal around the clarinet mouthpiece, and we'll say 2, 2, 2, just like that. So I'll make sure my reed is still moist. My bottom teeth are cushioned. Top teeth here. Then I'll form a seal around the clarinet, and I'll say 2, 2, 2. Much better. Now I sound like a musician playing, not a monkey. Remember the monkey? They know better. They know that enough to make their clarinet moist, their reed moist. But they're just gonna. We cushion our bottom teeth. Top teeth touch here. Form a seal, and say 2, 2, 2. If you can do that, you've got a great start to playing the clarinet. Nice job. So, for the first part of our lesson, we were able to get all of this together. There was a reason we put these two pieces together first. We put the barrel along with the mouthpiece. If I didn't do that, if I put just everything up here together first, and then had to put the barrel on, I'd be going like this and probably wrecking my ligature and it'll fall off or breaking my reed. So now I put these two pieces together first, then the ligature goes on with the reed, and now I've got something to hold on to. So now when I get the next part of my clarinet, I can hold on to the barrel and I'm not going to mess up my ligature. Well, let's go get the next piece of our clarinet. In here I see two long pieces. One of them is the lower joint, one of them is the upper joint. We need the upper joint. You're going to pick up each piece and find the one that has the long key in the back. There's only one long key in the back of one of the pieces. This is the one for your upper joint. Alright, well, I'm going to be putting these two pieces together, and again, which way does it go? Well, it's only going to go one way, because once again, if you try to put the wrong one on, it's just going to fall off. So it must go this way. Oh gee, what do you think I should do before I put these two pieces together? Of course we need some more cork grease. So I'll carefully set this down and get my cork grease out. I'll put a little bit of cork grease on the cork, just like before. Doesn't have to be a lot. If it's all caked up all over the place, you put too much on. Just enough, once around the cork, and don't forget to rub it in. You'll want to rub it in with your fingers. And what are you going to do after you have it rubbed in with your fingers? You don't want to touch your clarinet with the cork grease, so we get a tissue and wipe off our fingers on the tissue. Don't tell Mom, I still wipe it off on my sock. Anyway, now I get the barrel. I can hold the barrel. Very important, when I hold this part of the clarinet, I don't want to grab it by the keys. If I grab it by the keys and start pushing and twisting, guess what? These pieces of metal that make up the keys, they're very, very bendable. They're very breakable. And it will be so easy to bend these keys when I put the clarinet together. I want to grab it in a place where there aren't any keys. And then I can take this part by the barrel and twist, twist, twist to get it on. So I turn and turn and turn. And now it's on. Where should this reed be though? Where should the mouthpiece be? Does it make a difference or not? The answer is yes, it does make a difference. You want your reed to line up with this long key we saw in the back. So as you're putting it together, again, be careful of the keys, we want to make sure we twist the barrel until this is perfectly, perfectly straight. The back key should line up with the reed. So, now we have the upper joint, the barrel, and the mouthpiece. Now we're actually ready to make some nice musical sounds with our clarinet. And truly, we shouldn't get much farther than this in our first lesson. With this, we could already make some nice musical sounds. Remember recorder? We love what? We love leftovers. Clarinet's the same thing as recorder. We are going to love leftovers. Our left hand is going to be over our right hand. So our left hand is going to go here. Our right hand is going to go below. I don't have anything below yet, so guess what I could do with my right hand? Just for now, I think I'll put my right hand up here on the barrel. Alright? This is where our left hand belongs. Our right hand is going to go down here when we get the next section. Just for now, you can hang on to this with your right hand. Really make sure, check to see, left and right. Oh yeah, this is my left hand, it's going to go here. My right hand, grab the barrel for now. Let's see if we can make that sound. Remember the monkeys? They had the reed moist, and they just blew into it, and they're going to get a nasty sound. We learned how to make it sound like a musician. Cushion our bottom teeth, our top teeth touch on top, form a seal, and then very, very important to say too. Some people will do this and they won't feel that tongue going to, they're just going to blow. They're not going to be an excellent clarinet player. If you want to be an excellent clarinet player, you must feel your tongue going t, t, t. So let's try it. Make sure my reed is moist. Remember, if my reed is not moist, it's not going to vibrate. Cushion the teeth, top teeth on top, form a seal, and say two. That's the sound we're looking for. Now, you might not get that sound right away. You might get something more like this. You might put it in, do everything perfect. And you might get some squeaks. That doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. This takes a little while to build up these muscles to make it really work well. Got to cushion the teeth, top teeth here. Kind of be firm with your mouth to keep everything firm. You don't want to be loose and blowing into the clarinet. Keep everything firm. And you still might get, once in a while, you might get a squeak. But keep trying it. Top teeth here. Work on it. You should be looking for this sound. That's a nice sound we're looking for. See if you can do that. Okay, once you can get that nice sound, now we're looking for where do our fingers belong. If you look in back, you see this long key we talked about before, and only one hole. If that's in back, guess which finger is going to cover that? Yeah, my thumb. My thumb is going to cover the thumb hole. And around front, boy, I see an awful lot of buttons, but I only see 1, 2, 3 holes. Well, guess what? 1, 2, 3 fingers are going to cover those holes, and the thumb will cover the thumb hole. Really important, you want to try to get these two fingers to look like the letter C. If you're reaching around, reach around with the letter C, cover the thumb hole, cover that first hole. And this will be the first note we're going to try to play to make sound nice. This is the note E, kind of like the note Mi on clarinet, on recorder last year. It'll be Mi, Re, Do. That's the sound we're looking for, is Mi, Re, and Do here. The note is called E on clarinet. This is going to be the letter E. See if we can make that sound. Make sure it's moist. If you can get that to sound nice, you can go to two fingers. This note will be D. And the third note is called C. It's not going to sound like a C just yet. I wonder why. Because we don't have the whole clarinet together. But just for practice, we can play E, D, and C. That's not how C should sound, but those are the three notes you can practice with just the upper joint, just to see if you can get your fingers to reach around. If you can do that, you can play around a little bit, trying hot cross buttons. Doesn't sound perfectly like hot cross buns yet, does it? No, not quite. But this is far enough. We don't want to go any farther than this yet. You've got to promise me you're not going to try to put together the rest of the clarinet yet. There are a lot of little pieces here, and one of these pieces that I'm going to show you next time is the one that you're going to break if you try to put the rest of the clarinet together. You will break something if you don't know exactly what you're doing to put the next part of the clarinet together. So until I show you in class, this is as far as you go, okay? Work hard, you're going to be great. Take two, good job. Okay, so you just practiced your clarinet, you put it all together, you tried to get a nice sound out of it, you're saying two, you're working really hard. Maybe 10 minutes at the beginning here. Eventually we'll work on it for like 15, 20 minutes will be your practice time. But at the beginning, 10 minutes is enough. Now it's time to put away the clarinet. You need to put it back in its case. Well, we have to be just as careful, sometimes even more careful taking it apart. I don't want to bend any of the keys, and I'll twist, twist, twist to take these two pieces apart. Now each piece that comes off, I'm going to do something with before I put it in the case. This is important. I want to take something in my case called a swab, and I'm going to run it through each piece of the clarinet separately. Very important we do it separate. There might be a little weighted piece at the end. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for something that's heavy at the end. And we'll drop that through our clarinet. Let it drop all the way through. Take it from the other side and just pull it through one time. That's all it needs. This piece is ready to be put away. What happens is there's moisture inside the clarinet. Moisture will build up. And if that moisture builds up, it's going to become all yucky and moldy inside the clarinet. Alright, these two pieces need to come apart, need to be put away. What should I do? Should I take these two pieces apart first? Probably not. Probably take the reed off before I take the two pieces apart. That's just what I'll do. I'll loosen the ligature, and I'll be very careful lifting this off. I'm still holding onto my reed. I can set my ligature down for a second, take my reed off. I could even wipe the reed off a little bit. Put that in your case. Now these two pieces can come apart. And yes, you want to take them apart before you run this through. It's not good enough just to run this through. Some people, I've seen them run it through the whole entire clarinet, all the way through just one time, and whoop, okay, I'm done. No, because the moisture even gets inside, in between the rings of the clarinet. So take each part separately and run the swab through. How quick? Just like that. That's all it needs. The barrel can be put away. Run it through the mouthpiece, and that's done too. It's very quick to run the swab through the mouthpiece and through the clarinet parts. Before you put the mouthpiece away, you should put the ligature back on, and you're all set. Okay, important to take care of your clarinet. We want it to last a long time. Great.